Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very, very good spirits wherever you are in the world. Where I am, it is Tokyo, and it is now the early morning of Thursday, the 12th of August, 2021. I woke up and I was the recipient of a number of messages from a number of people. So I want to thank everyone who sent me messages earlier today, because through that you were so kind to let me know about some pretty big news that has just hit the world of the Criterion collection. So I decided to check out the site to see what it is that it could be. And lo and behold, what do I see? I see an article, or I see a little notice, an announcement or pre-announcement, as it were, which is dated August 11th, 2021. So that accounts for maybe a little bit of a time difference, because this is in North America. But the title is Citizen Kane to lead Criterion's first 4K slate. So there is this posting or article or little teaser announcement of sorts, which is now on Criterion's website. So please check out that little, that quite big, in fact, announcement or teaser announcement or pre-announcement. And you can find the text in full on the Criterion website. The link will be included below. Please check it out. If it's okay, let me just first read this little announcement, and then from there, maybe we can talk a little bit about it. So our initial impressions or reactions. Citizen Kane to lead Criterion's first 4K slate. We are thrilled to announce Criterion's first 4K Ultra HD releases, a 6-film slate that includes Citizen Kane, Menace to Society, The Piano, Mulholland Drive, The Red Shoes, and A Hard Day's Night. The first of these editions and their special features will be detailed in our November 2021 announcement next week, with others to follow in subsequent months. The most dazzling debut in cinema history, Orson Welles' Citizen Kane was Criterion's first Laserdisc release 37 years ago. It now rejoins the library after a long absence, making its first appearance in 4K Ultra HD, along with Alan and Albert Hughes' riveting breakthrough Menace to Society, Jane Campion's Academy Award-winning The Piano, starring Holly Hunter and Anna Paquin in her breakout role, David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, a tale of love and jealousy in the City of Dreams, Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's singular Technicolor Fantasia, The Red Shoes, and Richard Lester's timeless movie musical, A Hard Day's Night, which brought the Beatles' revolutionary talent and irreverent humor to the big screen. Each title will be available in a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo pack, including a 4K UHD disc of the feature film, as well as the film and its special features on Blu-ray. Select films will be presented in Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos. Stay tuned for more details in our November announcement. So, there are a number of things that one can say here, and there are a number of things that I I have in mind. Now, I will save some of these comments for later, and specifically when Criterion will make its specific announcement in regards to its planned November releases. According to the article here, it says, the first of these editions and their special features will be detailed in our November 2021 announcement next week, with others to follow in subsequent months. And it also says at the very bottom, at the very last part of the article, it says, stay tuned for more details in our November announcement. So, this is therefore something that I would like to explore further when that November 2021 announcement is made next week, and also when the actual item arrives, so we can dive in and explore and see what this new format has to offer in terms of will there be any changes to maybe spine numbering or the actual look of the presentation, the packaging, or will it be pretty much like how Blu-ray was integrated into the physical media catalog, which had up to a certain point been only DVD, etc. And so if that's the case, then it's probably going to be similar to how Blu-ray was integrated to DVD. Now we have 4K UHD being integrated into the Blu-ray DVD catalog in probably the same or similar manner, which would then mean a continuation of the already existing spine number order, and also maybe no distinguishable change or outwardly noticeable change in terms of the packaging. Of course, there would have to be the applicable logos affixed to the outer packaging areas to account for the format differences, of course, and all those technical specifications have to be indicated appropriately. But in terms of a type of collecting viewpoint, my guess is there will probably be a kind of continuation or continuity established with the current spine number collection. But again, we'll wait and see for the specifics on that when the time comes for these and the other announcements. Speaking of which, too, it does say that the first of these editions will be detailed in our November 2021 announcement next week, which then suggests to me that of these 6, maybe only 1 or more, but not all, will be part of that November announcement. If that's the case, then the remainder of those 6 would probably therefore be subject to or part of future release announcements, December, January, etc. Now, and then what that means too is, it says here, Citizen Kane to lead Criterion's first 4K slate. Now, what this suggests to me too is that, in all likelihood, this is an indication that Criterion will continue on with this format beyond these first 6 titles. So it is very exciting to wonder and speculate as to what those possibilities could be going forward. So in any event, this is another thing that we can discuss every time the next announcement is made for the next month, etc. So very exciting. It'll be very exciting once again to see what the order of the releases are. What will be the first one up? Will it be Citizen Kane? Will it be any other? So again, all this excitement is still in the air. And then, of course, what happens beyond these first 6. So that word "first" is very important. So in any event, let us wait and anticipate and wonder and speculate, and then discuss when the time comes. The other aspects of this are the ideas here being that, this is, of course, Criterion's entry point into the format. Maybe to some, it's a little bit of a late entry point, especially when considering other formats or other labels or other houses or other, say, in particular, boutique labels or similarly situated labels related to Criterion. Arrow comes to mind as an example. Those other labels or sources or houses or studios, etc., have already been releasing a number of their catalog titles onto this new format. And now Criterion is just now making the announcement. However, it's of course, in that perspective, right? Well, better late than never is an expression that comes to mind. Also, Criterion, at least as far as I'm aware, has this type of timing isn't. It seems not inconsistent with how, say, Criterion has approached emerging new formats at the time in the past. For example, the time, right, Criterion and Blu-ray seems to come to mind, and then of course over time, once the format is firmly established, then I think the attention goes from away from, say, the timing of when Criterion entered into the market into the actual titles that they're releasing themselves. So in any case, the timing issue doesn't concern me, or it never concerned me to any great degree. But I do understand, and I am aware that for some, who are very knowledgeable about the formats and collecting, for example, in physical media, I know for some the timing was an issue. But now, again, we get this great news. So we'll now see what Criterion has to offer going forward. This is, I think, just overall a very exciting and positive news. In terms of format, too, we should say that Criterion's talking about each title will be available in a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo pack. And it says select films will be presented in Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos. So this is very interesting too. The specific mentioning of Dolby, in particular Dolby Vision HDR. So we'll wait and see what this means, where these particular technologies will be applied to which titles, etc. And so, in any event, it's interesting that this mentioning is made in terms of that technology, and also, of course, the concept of the combo pack. Now, when we're talking about 4K UHD, and then when we're talking about a combo pack, then of course a number of considerations, I think, emerge. For example, what will that mean? What is going to be the suggested retail price for these titles? My guess it's going to be a price point that is higher than the current price point of, say, an ordinary Blu-ray release from Criterion, and certainly maybe an ordinary DVD release from Criterion. So we'll have to keep an eye out for what this suggested retail price point will be for the 4K UHD title that will be announced for November 1 or more. So we'll keep an eye out on that, and that'll be an indication of what the price points will be. If it's going to be significantly expensive, then that will also be a consideration. And also, will these titles be subject to any upcoming sales? For instance, for any Barnes & Noble sale that happens in the future, and I hope that there are many, many more to come, as well as any flash sales through Criterion, etc. I will assume that these titles will also be under that, or will also be granted the, say, 50% off sale price, etc. So I'm assuming no change there, but of course we'll see about that. In any case, maybe if these are going to be subject to any sales in the future, the first is going to be in November. So hopefully, if there is going to be a sale from Barnes & Noble around that time, it might be an interesting consideration to maybe consider getting a title during a sale. However, of course, we should keep in mind that maybe these might be quite popular. Who knows? So maybe availability or stock might be an issue. But in any case, let's keep an eye out on the price point, and also let's keep an eye out as to how sales treat these. My guess is they'll probably treat them the same as any other Blu-ray title, DVD title, or box set. Speaking of box sets, of course, now this news is going to be arriving in regards to the November release timing. And so, does this mean that will there be any other big news announcements from Criterion with regard to any of the titles between November and December? Will there be any other new box set announcement? Again, I'm not sure. News like this is pretty big, and so this is probably taking up, what's the phrase? It's taking up all the oxygen in the room in terms of the Criterion fan discussions. And so maybe there wouldn't be any new box set announcement or anything of the sort. Who knows? Who knows? Of course, would I be happy if they did? Yes, yes. And of course, I would be very curious if a new box set were to arrive before the end of the year, what it would be, what the contents are, what the presentation is, etc. So if that is to happen, much like, say, last year and the timing of the release of the Fellini box set, that would be, of course, welcome news indeed. So again, I'm not sure. I don't work for Criterion, so I don't know what any immediate future plans are for any big-time releases. When I say big-time, I mean like box set event releases. But in any event, if we were to not see any other event release announcements for the end of 2021, still, this news is very, very big indeed. So, and also, it begs the question into the future: will there be any type of box set that is integrating this new format of UHD 4K box set announcement, etc.? And also, it begs the question: how will the format be integrated into the current catalog or the past releases? We've already had, of course, a large amount of releases up to and beyond spine number 1000, of course, and now we're entering into the 1100s very soon. And so this also begs the question: how will, if at all, how will Criterion begin to integrate this new format into past releases? For example, we just saw recently the release of World of Wong Kar-wai box set, and so will we see, for example, a box set like that, maybe individual releases given to the titles, and maybe they're going to be introduced into the individual release foray under this new format? I mean, is that a possibility? Who knows? That's an example, or that's a speculative comment on my part to suggest that, again, there are all these considerations, especially with a back catalog as large as Criterion's. So we shall wait and see. And of course, remember that Blu-ray as a format was treated similarly. Now, it's not the case that all the titles were then that were DVD turned into Blu-ray releases, but even now we see titles that are earlier in the Criterion spine number system that are emerging also as Blu-ray, what's known as Blu-ray upgrades or re-releases. Masculin Féminin comes to mind as a recent example, or The Furies, or Mona Lisa is coming up soon. So and for a lot of these were maybe direct port, or they were maybe a whole new packaging design, etc. So now this, with yet another format possibility, then these considerations and these speculations and these exciting speculations come to mind. So we'll have to wait and see how the format will be further integrated into the past catalog. And also, what does this have to say for the current formats? In particular, what does this say about DVD? Will the DVD format continue on with Criterion, or who knows? What does this mean for, say, the Eclipse series? Now, we haven't had any Eclipse series announcements in quite some time, so does this announcement have any effect, say, on DVD and Criterion's views on DVD as a format going forward? Again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll get some indications in the upcoming announcements, of course, if DVD as a format is to be included. My guess is probably yes, but again, we'll wait and see. And I mentioned to the Eclipse series as well, because we haven't had any recent news about the Eclipse series, so it's always great if that were to happen, but again, who knows what an announcement like this means for a series like that. It's a great series, by the way, but again, we'll have to wait and see. The other aspects too would be the titles. Now, the titles that they are announcing here, these six titles are, of course, each in their own way, fascinating choices. Of these, I think we have the film. Well, let me just take it a step back. We have 6 of them. Mulholland Drive, The Red Shoes, and A Hard Day's Night are titles that are in the current catalog, and so that probably answers the question right there, which is how Criterion will begin to deal with its past back catalog, which I was referring to just a moment ago. And under the assumption that if Criterion will have these 4K titles under the same spine number as they currently exist in the catalog at the moment, then that's probably the case. So it's just an additional format option to this already existing spine numbered title. And if that's the case, then that's probably what's going to happen. But again, we'll wait and see what the specifics are, the specs are for each of these titles. But in any event, as it stands now, Mulholland Drive we have Mulholland Drive already, The Red Shoes, of course, and then A Hard Day's Night. Now that comes to, and also it'll be interesting to see if there are any, as I was mentioning before, will there be any, say, cover art changes, or will they remain the same? Will there be that kind of continuity, or what does this mean? Will there be any packaging differences? Again, it's wonderful to consider these, but we shall consider them further when more specific announcements arrive. Now, as to the remaining 3, The Piano, Jane Campion's The Piano, is very welcome news. This is a title that at the moment is not in the Criterion collection, and so the physical media catalog Criterion collection. So this is very, very welcome, and I can't wait to get the news that as to when it will specifically arrive, and then of course when it arrives, it'll be a great opportunity to revisit this film, and also to see what Criterion has to offer in terms of how it will present this and the special features, etc. So this is great news. So this is a new emerging upcoming title. And then we come to Citizen Kane and Menace to Society. Now, I group these 2 titles together for a specific reason. The article here by Criterion mentions that or it makes reference to the fact that Citizen Kane was Criterion's first Laserdisc release 37 years ago. And that is indeed the case. The Laserdiscs by Criterion are a fascinating field, a fascinating historical ground. They are so rich with interesting details and mysteries. There are so many mysteries and fascinating aspects to the Criterion Laserdiscs. They are wonderful. And of these, or the first of these, was in fact Citizen Kane. And there were a number of release editions. I think I made a video some time back going through, or I attempted to go through some of the earlier titles, and one of those titles was Citizen Kane, at least the initial release of it. Of course, for those who know the Criterion Laserdiscs, you will recall, of course, that there was also another release of Citizen Kane on yet a different spine number in the Laserdisc catalog, which is right here. In, say, spine number 142. So it emerges at the start of the Criterion Laserdisc catalog, and it also re-emerges on a different spine number, on a different presentation later in the spine number catalog, or the Laserdisc catalog. So it's a fascinating discussion, again, in the context of where and how it was released by Criterion in the Laserdisc format back in the day. And of course, this is huge news, and it's very symbolic in that way. There is this the reputation of Citizen Kane as a work it's been described by many people as being the greatest ever made, and so there is this legend about this work. And so the other thing too is Citizen Kane being this monumental, legendary film, this milestone, landmark masterpiece of a work. And the fact that it was Criterion's first Laserdisc release. There is a special kind of link or connection that one can make, especially in the physical media collecting mindset, between Criterion and Citizen Kane on that front. And so the fact that we had Citizen Kane, that was the first ever physical media Laserdisc release made by this label called the Criterion Collection, which has lasted, and this was back in the early to mid 80s, and then now, nearly 40 years later, we have this return, as it were. This is it's huge. This is very huge, and it's also an indication of the possibility of other Laserdisc titles that have not yet seen any DVD or Blu-ray or now 4K release. The possibility of other titles emerging. Now that's where Menace to Society comes in. This is another fascinating selection for a number of reasons. The film is fascinating. I haven't spoken about this one yet, but this is going to be I'm looking forward to the discussion very much. And I group it with Citizen Kane because for those who know the Laserdiscs, you will also recall that Menace to Society was also a title that was released by Criterion on Laserdisc. Let's see here. It would have been, excuse me here, it would have been here. So around excuse me, I should have been more prepared here, I apologize. But I think, yes, here it is. It's right here. Yep, this is Laserdisc spine number 219. So Menace to Society is right here. So Menace to Society is now returning to the Criterion Collection as well. This Laserdisc release, by the way, is this wonderful gatefold. And so we have the back right here. So it'll be interesting to see maybe a comparison with how Criterion released Menace to Society on Laserdisc back in the day, and how it plans to release Menace to Society under this new format, hopefully very soon in the coming months. So in any case, we have not just the return of Citizen Kane back from the Laserdisc catalog, but you also have the return of Menace to Society, which used to be a Criterion Laserdisc back in the day. So that's wonderful news in terms of the reemergence of this film, Menace to Society, back into the Criterion catalog, and also in terms of collecting and formats. We have yet another Laserdisc title that has come back. And so this means too that hopefully we might see other titles that were Laserdiscs that could emerge again. Who knows? But fingers crossed. I hope that many more will come, and I am looking forward, and I'm very excited to when we will be able to explore Citizen Kane and Menace to Society and the others when they arrive. I think, let's see, I think there are a number of other things that I would like to say, but maybe let me save those comments for when we get more specific, concrete, detailed news as to each of these announcement or release announcements. But maybe now I can turn the discussion over to you, my dear friends, and to ask you, what do you think about this news? Are you excited? Are you not excited? Are there any specific titles that you would like to see emerge from Criterion, maybe in particular on this format? What does this mean as far as your take on the format? Will there be any type of equipment or maybe upgrades that you are considering, etc., in terms of accommodating the format and for your maybe home viewing experiences, etc.? and the like. And so if you have any type of comments or reactions of the sort, I would love to hear about it, and please let me know in the comments section below. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now, and of course we will return to this discussion when we get more specific news from Criterion in the next few days. But until then, my friends, please continue to be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Thank you so much, as always, for your time. I very much appreciate it. Stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.